Okay, welcome to the webinar, What's New in Control 5.7. What we're going to obviously go through here is a lot of the new features that are coming out in 5.7 and how you might use them, how they might apply to your business. I thought, though, it would be helpful to start with a quick history of the 5 series in Control and just go through that so you can see sort of how we've been building and I think understand with that some of where we're going and the fact that we have a lot of active development going on. So 5.1 was the first of the 5 series versions of Control, and that had a lot of what we call plumbing changes. So a lot of things that were internal, not necessarily visual, were changed. Some of the things you might have noticed were the Explorer enhancements. The Explorer got where you could group and you could sort, and now we went ahead and in a recent version turned on the ability to subtotal. So you can right click and it'll subtotal things on Explorer. So now a lot of nice little things there. There were a number of other production enhancements. So there's now a production tab in the orders, and there are a number of other production related aspects there. The whole idea of a production division being different than the sales division. Stockroom Manager is a nice inventory control feature. So you can very quickly search all your parts, find your parts that are below the red level or the yellow level, see what you need to order, check, 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 and then send them out and create a PO. So very nice features for helping manage your inventory there. And we also went to an online authorization model. So rather than use that security key or that dongle, now all of that is online and tied to your record here at the Sirius office. So if you do purchase a new user, we can simply change a button and instantly you'll have that with nothing to do. I say instantly. If you do help about, then it's instant. If you do nothing, it will take about 12 hours before your system will check again. From there, we rolled to Control 5.5, and I think the most notable and appreciated aspect of Control 5.5 was the document management piece. So the ability to organize all of the files associated with your orders or your customers. And if you haven't turned that on, haven't started using that, I'd really encourage you to do so. I've probably gotten more feedback about that one feature than any feature in, I don't know, a number of years. People really like it. It's not rocket science, but it just organizes something that you already do and makes it very accessible and easy to find. Of course, it also had spell check. It had domain login, so if you are using a domain system, it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to have separate passwords. You just log right in. It has the ability to distribute part usage across an order. So if you're applying using so much material, you can just put it on the order and it will separate it among all of the line items based on some pretty intelligent rules. And zip code lookup that lets you look up what the city state is, just sort of speeding up that process. So 5.1, a lot of plumbing, some nice things. 5.5, building a little more in the infrastructure. We then got to 5.6 and we really did a pretty major speed overhaul with 5.6. You'll see really dramatic startup speed improvements. When you open and actually load something, whether that's Explorer or whether you're just opening an order or a customer, much, much faster performance there. A lot of caching also going on, so that really also ramps things up. When you edit an order, it does things like, well, it tracks what you change, so it only changes the line items that you change, and so it speeds up a lot of areas where you're editing and making changes as well. And on top of all of that, it uses about half the memory that Control 5.5 did. So overall, a really nice optimization set of features in this version. Not as much to point to. A couple of things. Well, with 5.7 now, we are really coming out. The major aspect of 5.7 is the cloud connector. And what the cloud connector does, and I'll go into this in detail in the next slides, but it enables you to keep the system local. So you have your data, it's all on your property, on your premises. You can access it, but you can also choose to open up tunnels to the Sirius cloud, and there we have a growing a starting set at this point, but a growing suite of applications that can use your data where it is without moving it or without trying to bring it up to provide mobile access functions and additional functions, and we'll talk about what those are. One of those, of course, is the Calendar Cloud app, which we'll talk about immediately following that. That's the first one that's out there, and it lets you access your activity manager calendars from a mobile device, a phone, a tablet, or even just a desktop browser. we'll look at how that works. We'll talk about derived products, and derived products are really nice add-on that lets you create configurations of products without all of the maintenance or overhead of products. And so this is really useful if you find yourself, if you ever find yourself going back to cloning an order or pulling line items out of an order, because it's for a particular customer, they always order this way, you know that order has it exactly right. Well, you can bundle all that, save it as a derived product, and just use it like it's a regular product. So we'll look at how that works. Really nice feature. We think that's going to be one of the most rapidly adopted features in 5.7. We'll also talk a little about the smart part system. That's a really powerful tool for searching through parts and adding parts into an order. And it doesn't always apply, but in those cases where it does apply, it's a very nice system. We'll look briefly at WebView, which got an overhaul, visual overhaul for this version. And one of the other things about 5.7 is it actually does have a lot of other speed improvements and refining. And so these are areas where 5.6 sped it up, but in some cases we didn't see that. So we've gone back and continue to sharpen that knife and make it better and better. And so there are a number of other speed improvements in 5.7, and there's a number of other fixes. One perhaps most notably is a fix that takes care of some locking of the screen that could occur when you were accessing it via RDP or using a remote app. That is actually going to be published this week. So that's actually not on the web today. It will be on the web this week. So all right, well, let's go ahead and I'll pause for a second. I'll open it for any questions, and then we'll go ahead and continue. Are there any questions? Okay, well, as I said, for those just joining, I'm going to keep it muted, keep everyone muted so the background noise is limited. If you have any questions in the interim, please type them in the chat, or I will pause pretty much after every major feature and see if there are any questions and discussion for that. All right, so the cloud connector. And the cloud connector is, and you'll also hear this called the C-cubed or the Sirius Cloud Connector. But what the cloud connector does is it allows you to take your site, your server where the slip is running, where you have your database, and open a tunnel all the way to our cloud. And once you've opened that tunnel, you'll enable us to be able to access your data so that we can provide, we can host and run applications for you and your customers that allow you to work with your data. So in the past, if you wanted to do this, you'd have to have your own web servers, or you'd have to configure IIS, you'd have to configure your firewall, you'd have to maintain it, you'd have to update it. And so, all of those aspects were really, all that IT burden fell on you. What this lets us do, first and foremost, is take all of that IT burden off of you and allow you simply to turn it on and then have those services available. One of which is Cloud Connector. We'll talk about some others that are in the works currently and what time frame you might expect to see some of those at. So just a quick diagram. We use something called the program we wrote, we call the home gate here. And the home gate is running right now on your slip, or when you install on the server that has your slip. When you install 5.7, it will be there. It will not actually run until you turn it on. And you do that inside of control quite simply. And so, let me get back. So inside of control, if I want to turn that on, I'm going to come to Setup, System Setup, and then down here at the bottom, the last item you'll see is the Sirius Cloud Connector. And all you have to do is check that box. And when you check that box, it will start up HomeGate. Sorry, wrong page. So it will start up the HomeGate. And what the HomeGate does is it opens a connection to our cloud space. And that's important because we're not opening it to you, you're opening it to us. And what that means is you don't have to worry about someone trying to break through any openings in the firewall because you don't open anything for inbound calls. So if this were a telephone, essentially you're calling us, and then once that channel is open, then we can do things with it. But you're never answering the phone to someone calling in, and so you don't have the problem of worrying about hackers getting in through that method. So it establishes a secure connection. It uses a public-private key, so we know it's you, you know it's us. We're talking back and forth, and the security is baked in. We do have a web page that goes over a lot of how that works with the SSH encrypted channel. It doesn't go through all of the details because you don't want to give too much information to someone out there that might wish to do you harm, but it does give you an idea, and I think in a sense of comfort that we're very aware of that, very cognizant of that, and how that works to protect your site and your data. So with the home gate, though, what we can do with our cloud app is we can access SQL, so we can access your data. We can access your document management files if you're using those, and we can talk to the slip and Chappy. And so with that, what we can do is really deploy these cloud apps so that you can get to them just by going to the website. And we'll look at that in just a second. I do need to explain two things. One is that the way the system works, when we talk about the calendar, we're going to go to calendar.sirius.com, and then so it knows it's you and your business, you're going to do / and what we call the root path, and the root path will identify your business to the system. And so when we talk about payments in a little bit, it'll be payments.sirius.com / same root path. So that will really identify you to the business. Now from there, you still have to log in, and it will uses your control login and password. If you're using domain login, then you'll use your domain login and password. So it's using the same thing you're used to in control, but it's doing it from the cloud. There is no charge for the cloud connector, but you do have to be on a support contract for it to work. That's really to cover all the work that's involved in the cloud space. Let me pause for a second. I'll see if there are any questions before we jump and take a look at the Calendar Cloud app. Any questions? Okay, well, let's take a look at the cloud app. And this is, of course, the cloud connector is a nice, it's a nice slide, but it doesn't really do anything for you. It's an enabling technology, but by itself, it's not really useful. So one of the first apps, and this is also with 5.7 been released, so there's no additional charge for this. If you have 5.7, all you have to do is turn on the cloud connector, and you're good. And what that does is, let me just open a window, and I'm going to go to calendar.sirius.com / and then the root path for this test company is Sear Sales. And one of the emails that you got from us announcing 5.7 should have had your root path. If you don't know what it is, you can email or call support. If you want to change it, you can email or call support. And there's two schools of thoughts. One is you could have something that's very, very obscure, and then no one would ever be able to guess it. Now, even if they guessed it, they would still need your username and password to access your calendar. But you could go with very obscure, and that's fine, or you could go with something that you can remember. Right now, they're a combination of your name, your business name. So that's what you'll see mostly. Okay, so when we open, now in this case, because I was already logged in, it went ahead and knew I was logged in. I'm going to log out just so you see how that works, and repeat that process. And it's going to take me to a login screen. And here I'm going to log in with my the username and password that I'm using here. And it will bring me in, and this is actually pulling the calendar straight out of my Activity Manager. So when I look at my Activity Manager calendar, or I go make changes to my Activity Manager calendar, they're going to show up right here on this screen. I can click on it, I can look at the details. If you're on your phone, it's nice because I can touch this little button and it will dial. It'll immediately launch, or it'll launch your email editor. Just what you would expect. It gives you the information. I can add notes. I can complete the event, yeah, I can delete it, and I can create new events. So it's really very straightforward. I can choose to show or hide completed activities, and I can change calendars. So if you do create calendars for your bucket trucks or for your service techs or your install crews, all of that is accessible. So all of those control calendars are accessible here. I can switch to it and look at that. And I see my bucket truck has been scheduled for something. Sorry, if I can find my user. There we are. So, very straightforward. Let's take a look at what that looks like on a phone. The nice part is it does reformat. And to do that, what I'm going to do is just open an instance of Chrome, and then I'm going to ask Chrome to simulate it as an iPhone. So I've done that. I'm going to do now the same thing. calendar.sirius.com/SearSales, and it will take me to the login that would be on my phone. And you might choose to remember that, so it always knows you. And here, we have obviously the day view, the month view. The view is slightly different, and the information is the same. I can flip back and look at my different days. And again, we're seeing all the information. This is all live. If I complete something here and go look at it in control, it's going to be completed. I'm not showing the completed items, so it's not showing up there. There you go. Now it came back. So again, very easy, very accessible. It's not rocket science, but it's very nice to have the ability to do this anywhere you have a mobile device. So let me go ahead and pause, and I'll open up the voice channel and see if there are any questions on the calendar app. Well, I think we're pretty straightforward stuff. We will go ahead and then move on beyond calendar app then. The next thing that I want to talk about is inside of control, and that I'm sorry, before I jump there, let me quickly touch on some of the other cloud apps that you will see coming out. The first one is not oriented for you. It's oriented for your customers. So we are just about to test. We got approval earlier this week from Freedom Pay. We got certified from Freedom Pay. And what we are going to roll out shortly, we'll be in testing before the month is out, is an online payment system for your customers that goes straight to Elevon and ties right back into control. And so the way that will work is when you send out an invoice, you can, in the body of the message, put a link that they can click on, or in the invoice itself, and this will be in the standard invoices already, a button they can click. They click that link, they're taken to a web page, and they're given the details of the order, and they're able to pay for it. That will run straight into Elevon, who is the credit card provider that Sirius currently works with, and it will get recorded in control, so you'll see that all flow through automatically. So that's the Sirius online payment system, and that also will use the cloud connector. If we look at how that works and go back to the cloud connector, you can sort of see, well, let's see. Hopefully, there we go. Try that one more time. So what's going to happen here is this time, this is your customer coming from a link you've given them to a website. That website will allow them to securely put in a credit card, pay for the order. It goes and retrieves the amount of the order to make sure they're not paying more than the order, they're paying the right amount. All of that is dictated by your system and control, and that they're paying a valid order. Once they've paid, that puts that information back in control, gives them a message on the screen, and it's also emailing both them and you with those confirmation screens. So very nice system that they've worked out. At this point, it's really just in testing. If anyone's interested in being an early tester, certainly shoot me an email. We're still looking for probably 2 or 3 more to round out the group. But a very nice feature that we think is going to be really appreciated. And again, it's all utilizing this cloud connector technology that allows us to take everything you have at your location and also be able to access it from the web. So a hybrid solution for the best solution. The other thing that's coming out after that will be an online artwork approval system. And so this will tie into Control and allow you okay, I'm sorry. I've got a chat that's from somebody saying they can't hear me. Can anyone hear me? Okay, so I guess I was gone for a little bit and I'm back.
Yes, yes, sir.
How long have I been gone? So I know.
I could hear you all the time, the whole time.
Okay, about 30 seconds. All right, well, I'll go ahead and continue. Thank you for letting me know. I know we had a lot of audio problems last time. They seem to be better now, but let me know if it does come back, please. And I appreciate your patience. So what I was saying is that the next application that comes out that's going to be enabled by this is our online artwork approval system. So you'll be able to drop a file in the doc management artwork folder for an order, have that trigger a customer email, so they can then go click a link and see that artwork, add comments to it, request changes, or go ahead and approve it. And that then fires back into Control and lets you know you can monitor it, you can watch it. It's a little different than Stations, but it can tie into Stations. So you can track the status of all your artwork and all your approvals and then release it, have it released into production. So it handles design, it handles pre-press design, and it handles an internal review system. Very nice, we're excited about that. Also utilizing this cloud connector technology that really enables us to give a great hybrid solution. So that'll be out. It'll probably be somewhere in the second quarter before that's released to everybody. But more and more, we're really excited the Cloud Connector allows us to make things mobile, make them very accessible, but also give you that local service and local power. Any questions on any of the cloud, either apps or Cloud Connector, before we go ahead and move on? Okay, let's talk about Derived Products then. Derived Products give you the ability to create a couple ways to think of it. You can think of it as a product template or configuration, or a SKU or a saved line item. So you may find yourself, you have certain customers and they always order, they're always ordering a, I'll do a flatbed core print, flatbed 4x8 print on Coroplast, right? So it's a real estate customer. They're always ordering this. And so, every time they order, you either have to set all the options of what printer, what ink, what material, what size, et cetera, or you go back to an old order and you clone the line item. Or you can create its own product, but then I have two products that are very similar, one for doing perhaps flatbed prints in this case, and the other that is a specific instance of using that flatbed print. But now I have two products to maintain, two that have to tie into the right parts, so I just have a lot more administration and setup if I do it that way. So Derived Products, great solution for that kind of a problem. And let's take a look at how that works. I think doing this by example is probably as easy as explaining it. So I'm going to come into a new order. And let me see if I have this. No. I'm going to leave the customer out. We're going to come to digital prints. And I'm going to go to my flatbed print option. And so the first time around, I'm just going to create this the way I want it, right? So it's a 4x8. I'm going to print this on the Vutek. This is a standard resolution, and I'm going to do this on a Coro 10 mil, right? So this is my standard 4x8 for, I'm going to say Bobox Realtor. There are commercial realtors here, local to me. So you may have other options. I could go and set these options. But at this point, I'm just going to go. There's one other thing I might want to do, which is to actually change the income account. So if you find yourself changing income accounts, now most people don't use this because it's too hard to find, too easy to forget, and so you end up with inconsistent data. But you can change the income account for an individual line item. And where this is most useful is in the case where you have a particular customer that you want to track their income separate from all the rest. Well, the challenge with doing that is remembering to do it. In this case, what we can do is we can set it. So now I've created this. And what I want to do is make this a derived product so that every time going forward, I can just choose that derived product and I get all of this configuration I've set. So there are two ways to do that. I am more a right clicker, so I tend to right click, go to line item options and save as new derived product. When I do that, it's going to prompt me for a name, and I'm going to call this Bow Box 4x8. But maybe you have a SKU number, maybe the customer has a number that they reference it by, or maybe you're using, when we look at Sirius Online, this is a lot how the mapping will occur. That's all I'll say about that. So now what I've done when I created that is it created a product that now says Bow Box 4x8. In fact, we'll see it here in the menu. Looks like a product. Works like a product. I can add a new one. And it says Bow Box. And you'll see that it has all of the information that we put in, including the income account. So here on, I can use this just as if it's a regular product. Now, by the way, the other way to create one is you could just simply come and click this button at the top when you have the page open. So when you're creating it, if you want to save it as a derived product, you can simply click the button here, or you can right click on it. And now this is not really a product, and that's what you have to understand about derived products. It works like a product, but what it really is a specific instance of that product we started with, which we call the base product. So the base product in this case is flatbed prints. And what we've done is when we created a derived product, we told control, take the flatbed product, the flatbed print, and then set all of these variables, all these values to these things that are in my derived product, and then call it the new name of the derived product. Now, the nice part about that is I don't really have a different product to set up. I don't have a different product to maintain. If I change the part list, I only change it in the base product, and it will automatically, all those changes will automatically apply to the derived product. If I want to change the formula, well, that's really in the base product. The derived product is just presetting all these values or these configurations, and it's giving it its own name, so I can think of it as its own product. In fact, if you print your product analysis reports, it will show derived products as if they're separate. I can also move it to a different category, and that's something that is very helpful. Let's go take a look at what this looks like in pricing setup. So I come here to product setup, and I'll just close that a little to make a little more room. And we'll come here to digital prints, and you'll see the ones here with a D, the little D in the corner, that indicates that that's a derived product. And the one, of course, we just created was this one. And so rather than have all the information about the actual base product, and I'm going to put it in edit mode just so we can read it a little bit better, it knows its base product is flatbed print. So that's where it's going to get all of its calculations, all of its part information, everything it's going to compute, all the intelligence is still in the base product. The category here is going to be digital prints. I can put this in a different category, and in fact, very often you'll do that. You'll change it. I'm going to cancel that. I will come up and add a product category, and we'll call it, whoop, sorry, I had a key pressed, and we'll call it Bow Box. And so now I can come back to my digital prints, and I can put that in, I can put that in Bow Box. Whoop. There we are. And so then when I save it, we'll see that all of those go in there. It's very nice. It removes it. It makes it very clear if I have Bow Box calling, all of their specific products are in this box. or in this category. But what you'll see is what it's really done is store all of that information that I changed. So I put in the height, the width, I chose the printer, I chose the material. It did a lot of computation about the layout, and that's what's in here that is set up. I can go in and edit that and change it. If I wanted to change more, I wanted to set more, I can do that manually. I can choose any variable here, and I can then set it. I can also get rid of any of the options that I don't want set. We can override the modifiers, and you'll see that there's some things advanced, like what station do you want this to start at? So if they have a different process for that particular customer or that type, well, it's great. I can come in and I can set the station there. Or if you're using the assign to, I can pre-assign this to. You can also change the pricing form. So if you're using customizable, I could actually go in and remove a bunch of fields from the pricing form, and it would use a different pricing form in order to display that. Again, just simplifying that further. You saw that we did change the income account, and I can override the price information for it as well. And that's going to work just the way as if you overrode any of that information in the base product. So let's go ahead and save that, and you'll see that now it moved it. And when I go back to my order, we'll see that I have BowBox, right here. So again, very nice. We can use them. I can also delete them. So if I delete this, what it's going to do is just change all of the orders that were using this back to use flatbed prints. All the information will be the same. You won't lose anything. It will just revert it back to flatbed prints. So you can create them and delete them very easily. They're just configurations. So with that, let me go ahead and open up unmute everyone and see if anyone has any questions on derived products. No? I'm sorry, I think I may have hit the wrong button. Can you repeat yourself?
Does this handle add-on options?
It handles modifiers. When you say add-ons, it does not encapsulate child items. So if you have, for instance, design, you would have to go re-add design to it.
All right.
That is something we've got in ideas for next versions, but it doesn't do that right now. Other questions? Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the smart part system then. And the smart part system, the smart part system is a set of new pricing form components. So these are different things you can put on the pricing forms. And what it has a number of functions or a number of capabilities. What it will let you do is search through your list of parts very quickly based on UDF information, based on descriptions or SKUs or tags or categories. And so where it's very useful is for those kinds of orders that are driven by either lots of materials or have lots of options that are materials. So one in particular that's easy to think about might be screen printing. So and here I'm talking textile. If you were dealing with shirts, you might want to very quickly find all of your red shirts that are a medium size, or your sweatshirts with hoodies. And so you can create, very rapid searches through all of your parts to find the right material that's being used for that particular order. Another example might be if you're electric signs, where you want to search through for lamps and ballasts and find the appropriate size. Again, so it's a number of tools, a number of components that let you first, you build searches, whether custom or you just predefine them, and then display the results of that search, and then very quickly add those parts to orders. The other function that it does is it lets you create batches of parts. And so if you have an order that's going to be produced in multiple batches, then it will let you separate those into different production batches. So It does require control customizable, or at least some time with the consulting department if you don't have customizable, because it's not on the pricing forms that you have right now, and it would need to be added into the pricing form that you have. But it is very powerful tool component system that you'll see coming out in data sets in the future. And we look forward to, we actually look really forward to seeing how customers use this, because we have a lot of ideas. There are some specific needs that are really obvious, but we think there's probably a lot of power in here that we're interested to see how customers utilize that. Any questions on the smart part system before we move on? Okay. The next item I want to take a quick look at is WebView. And WebView is the portal that lets your customers access their order information. So essentially, and what we've done this version is we've done a lot of overhauls of WebView. So in this scenario, I have a customer from Ace Pawn, one of your customers, and they have a username and password, so they can then log in and look at their orders. And so we're going to log into the system. Well, this is not how it went in rehearsal. Server was not found. Well, try that one more time. Oh, except it's not me. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what happened there. If it was just a put to sleep waking up thing. But now I'm logged in as Chris, and I could go and look at my order history. I could look at all my open orders. I could go in and drill down on them. I could look at payments I made. I can request a reorder. I can also look at estimates and look at your company. They can look at what their information in your system is and request to change it. So now this system is not a cloud system. So WebView requires that you do set up a web server, and that's a part of the help series I gave you getting it installed. And then you do have to open a firewall so your customers can get through. One of the things you will see, I believe, in the coming months is you'll see this also deployed as a cloud app. And of course, the advantage of a cloud app is then you won't need to administer it. You'll just need to check a button and turn it on, and then give your customers their access information. And once you do that, they'll be able to access pretty much any of it. So this is WebView. It does have it did get a visual overhaul. Of course, it'll take your logo and your information and display it. But that's one of the things that's also new with 5.7. Any questions on WebView? All right. Well, that really completes this overview of 5.7. We can talk about anything you want at this point. Those features in 5.7, those features that we are looking at coming out soon, or just other ideas you have. So I'll stay on the line for a little while, but I do appreciate your time and your interest in what's new in 5.7. You can go to our website and download it. That's at www.siriussoftware.com. And then when you log in, you'll see you can go to tech support, support, and then downloads, and you'll see the list of all the downloads. All right, well, thank you. And again, I'll stay on for any questions or discussion.